As a black woman, I think journey to sort of self-love and acceptance of my hair has been a long one, especially growing up in sort of a predominantly white environment. What you see in sort of the media and social media and what is idolised as what's beautiful and feminine is sort of the Eurocentric look. So light, bright, straight, long sort of hair with no texture necessarily. Whereas, black women, black men, we have very thick, very curly, afro-like hair. So I think it took me quite a while to learn to love my natural hair as is. I sort of decided when I was 21 that I was going to stop hiding my hair and just learn to love it in its natural state. And I did get to that point. But through a number of different reasons, my hair just started to become more and more damaged. And I got to a point again where I was very self-conscious about it and I didn't feel beautiful when I had my natural hair out. And because of that, I was putting it in back-to-back protective styles, which is actually doing more damage to my hair, and it just became a bit of a vicious cycle. And I think, if I'm honest, it's probably been going on for the last sort of 3 years. And it just got to a point where, I was just, I had to take my last hairstyle out, the long green braids, and they massively overstayed their welcome. I had them in for far too long. But I was delaying taking them out just because I knew I didn't want to look at my natural hair. I don't want to deal with it. I didn't want to feel ugly. So when I did eventually take it out, I just felt awful. I didn't like how I was feeling. And it just got to a point where I was like, I don't like my hair as it is. It's so damaged from how I'm hiding it, basically. So I kind of just forced my hand and said, listen, you're going to start again and you're going to begin that journey again and basically learn to love exactly what I look like. So here we are. I remember, so I decided I was going to cut my hair, but then it was a very sort of last minute decision on the day I actually cut it. I was in London with some of my family members and my cousin said to me, if you're going to cut your hair, you may as well cut it here. And I was like, yeah, you're right. And she was like, so let's go cut it. And it just all sort of, it happened quite quickly. So between her saying that, I think it took about half an hour and I was sat in the barber shop having my hair cut off. And I wasn't sure how I'd feel. I was worried I was going to cry. But as soon as he cut it, I just felt so relieved. I just felt like a weight had started to come off my shoulders and I just let out a big sigh because I was like, oh, thank God. And I think actually I spend so much of my time thinking about my hair, worrying about my hair. How does it look? Does it look presentable? What's my next style going to be? I've got a match. I've only got this many days to take my hair out, wash it, book in with my, the woman who braids my hair. Like, it just occupied so much of my time. And I think it was really just, it was a weight by the end of it, especially because I knew I wasn't comfortable with my natural hair anymore. It felt like, okay, I've got to take my hair out on this day and then the next day it's got to get done. So trying to actually organise that around work, around rugby, was a logistical nightmare. So having it cut off was just very freeing. And yeah, I'm still trying to get used to my silhouette. I'm still getting used to the fact that, I wake up and this is me. But I felt relieved and I'm actually really glad I did it because I am much happier with my hair as it is now and actually seeing the textures again and letting the damaged parts grow out. Playing rugby and having my hair constantly, pulled up in a ponytail was damaging the more fragile parts of my hair. And so I've got lots of little bald spots in lots of different places that, contributed to why I was struggling to like my hair. So actually just letting my hair breathe and have the chance to recover just feels really good. And yeah, just learning to just embrace me and embrace my new look and embrace my hair texture again is a really good journey to be on, and I'm glad I made the decision to cut it. The media constantly paints a picture of what's beautiful, and it's not, black people with their natural hair and all of its texture out. It's, wearing wigs, wearing weaves, relaxing your hair so it's chemically straightened, or protective styles like braids and things to make it more acceptable. How many times do we hear stories of, children at school not being allowed to go in because they've got their hair in braids or in dreadlocks? I've got my own personal stories of being at secondary school and being told that my hairstyle, was not appropriate. So whether it's conscious or subconscious, we're always being told, how we choose to wear our hair is not okay. And I think that makes wearing your natural hair even more daunting and more of a challenge. So lots of black women then opt to wear those protective styles, which are wigs, braids, weaves, etc. But they're time consuming, they're expensive. You spend a lot of time getting them done, getting them fitted, paying money for their hair, paying for the stylist. So when you've done all of that, the last thing you want to do is run around, start getting sweaty, or, put your face in some mud and, roll around. And, some hairstyles like wigs, for example, it's actually not practical to play in, because what if someone yanks your hair the wrong way and your hair goes flying? Like, all of those things will play so heavily on black women's minds, especially in a sport like rugby, that it means that actually if they've got the choice of, oh, maybe I really love sport, but is it going to work with how I want to wear my hair? If it doesn't, then, that is definitely something that I think will push a lot of black women away from playing sport. And it's something that I don't think is really spoken about. And I think lots of black women make decisions about their hair based around their sport and what they do and what they choose not to do. So, yeah, it's definitely a topic that I think goes under the carpet a little bit, but by hopefully embarking on the journey I've embarked on, it will at least open the discussion and make it less of a sort of taboo topic. I didn't cut my hair to make my life as a rugby player easier, but by cutting my hair, my life as a rugby player will be so much easier. After just playing the weekend, I was able to literally get in the shower and wash my hair, and I was just like, wow, this feels great. But yeah, so I'm hoping that it will... just trying to be a bit more visible about, wearing my natural hair as it is, and also the struggles that I'm dealing with my hair, which have probably resulted from playing sport and playing rugby and being less sort of ashamed about it. You talk about having bald patches and things like that. Like, that's not, the most fun conversation to have, and you don't want to think about that as, a 27-year-old woman. But that's the reality, and actually, rather than sort of brushing it under the carpet, having that open dialogue and saying, this is what I've done, but here are the steps I've taken to try and mitigate that damage, and actually making it okay. Hair's a big part of our culture, even how we style it, how we choose to use our hair to express ourselves. Like, me having really long green braids is a way of expressing myself, having a real long braided, ponytail. It's just, I've always loved playing around with my hair and letting it be an extension of me. And I think, by cutting it doesn't mean that I've lost that. It's if anything, made me feel more connected to my roots and connected to sort of being at home. And I've always had a strong black woman to look up to. My mum for my whole life has basically had short hair. So it was never a case of, oh, you can't look good, you can't be beautiful, you can't look like a woman with short hair, because I've always had her as a role model to look up to. And so by cutting my hair, now I look a lot more like her. But that makes me feel good. That makes me feel, yeah, like I say, connected to my native land, and it's making me really learn to love myself in my entirety as a black woman. It's really sort of, I've stopped hiding. This is me. This is as authentic as I can be in an environment that tells you that how you look just by waking up as you are isn't good enough. It's really hard to find that courage to say, no, actually I am, and sort of stand up for yourself. But I'm hoping that by using my platform and being a bit more visible about my struggles and the journey that I'm on, it will help show that it is a journey. I'm an adult, quote unquote, but I'm still struggling. And, I've had good days, I have bad days, but it is an evolution and being honest with ourselves and saying, actually, am I happy with who I am? Do I love myself? Am I proud of myself? Am I proud of where I come from? And if you're not, how can we take steps to get yourself to where you want to be? So for me, that was cutting my hair. For the people, that might be just, doing whatever, speaking to your family members from your culture, or learning a bit more about your culture and where you come from, going back to where you come from, all of those things. There's lots of things that we as black people can do to really embrace who we are and not forget our heritage, because I think, yes, I'm proud to be British, I'm proud to be, raised in this country, but also my roots are Nigerian, and I love that, and I love being from West Africa, and I love having that part of my identity to carry me through. I'm a doctor, an athlete, and an activist. My name is Simi Pam.